Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. As you know, we are studying the important chapter of biology class 9, that is the fundamental unit of life. This is the first chapter of your biology, and in our previous lecture we have already discussed about the unicellular, multicellular organisms and the eukaryotes and prokaryotes, and then we have discussed that all the eukaryotic animals have three components, or we can say all the eukaryotic cells have three main components, that are plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. Then we have started the topic, that was plasma membrane. In that I told you what is plasma membrane, what is the structure of plasma membrane, and then I told you the transport materials, how the transport of materials take place, in which we have already discussed the passive transport. Now we will discuss the next method, that is active transport. So here we go. Today we will discuss about the active transport of materials. Okay. So what is active transport? Active transport means transport of materials which is rapid and it requires energy in the form of ATP. So here we can mention that it's a method of transport of materials which is rapid and requires energy in the form of ATP and requires energy in the form of ATP. Okay, generally active transport is also done in two processes, that is endocytosis and exocytosis. Endocytosis and exocytosis. Endo, as a name itself describe endocytosis, when the food materials is engulfed by the animal or organism. Okay, exocytosis means when the undigested food material is extrude outside the cell. Okay, extrude outside the cell, that is exocytosis. Means when the food material is engulfed, is taken inside the cell, that is endocytosis. And exocytosis, when the undigested food material is thrown out of the cell. Okay, so thus we can study these two topics in the active transport of material. Again, endocytosis also takes place by the two method, that is pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Okay, so these are the two methods of endocytosis, that is pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Now what is pinocytosis? When the liquid food material is taken inside the animal body or inside the cell, that is known as pinocytosis, and when the solid food material is taken inside the cell, that is phagocytosis. Okay, so here we will discuss all these things in the detail. Now first of all we will talk about endocytosis. Endocytosis. What is endocytosis? Endocytosis, as I already told you, endocytosis means when the food material is engulfed inside the cell. Or here we can mention, in this process animal cell engulf the food material with the help of plasma membrane. Okay, this is the main important thing, that it engulfs the food with the help of plasma membrane. With the help of plasma membrane. Okay, so what is endocytosis? Endocytosis is the process, generally this process takes place only in the animals. These process does not take place in the plant cell because plant cell plasma membrane is covered with rigid cell wall. Okay, so it does not allow the food materials to pass through it, and the plasma membrane is selectively permeable, so it allows the selected particles of gas, liquid and water is liquid, so we can say that it allows the air and liquid to pass through it. Okay, so thus we can say that endocytosis take place in the animal only when the animal cell come in the contact with the food material, then it engulfs the food with the help of plasma membrane, and generally this process take place in the amoeba. Okay. Now, endocytosis takes place with the help of two processes, that is pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Pinocytosis is also known as cell drinking. First of all, we will talk about pinocytosis. What is pinocytosis? It's also known as cell drinking. Okay, make a note that pinocytosis is also known as cell drinking. Why it is so? Because by this method liquid materials are taken inside the cell. Okay, this is the reason that pinocytosis is also known as cell drinking. How the process takes place? Here we go. When the plasma membrane comes in contact with liquid, then the membrane, or we can say the plasma membrane invaginates and forms a pocket-like structure, then it nips off and form a vesicle, then it nips off and forms a vesicle. This vesicle is known as pinosome. This vesicle is known as pinosome. Okay, then when this vesicle goes inside the cell, then this pinosomes comes in the contact with the entire material which is present inside the cell, and as well as comes in the contact with the digestive enzymes. Then these digestive enzymes attack on the spinosome and it breaks into small particles. Okay, whatever the material is present inside the pinosome, then it breaks into the simple particles. Okay, this pinosome enters or comes in the contact. This pinosome comes in the contact with entire material of the cell and come in the contact with the entire material, or we can mention here only material and with the digestive enzymes present in the cell, present in the cell. These digestive enzymes attack on pinosome and breaks the material of vesicle. Which vesicle? That is pinosome. Okay, and break the material of vesicle into simple particles, Okay, then the digestion takes place, and undigested particles get a covering of membrane around them and are thrown out of the body or cell and are thrown out of the cell by the process of exocytosis. Okay, so this is the whole process of pinocytosis. How it takes place, I'll explain you with the help of a diagram. Here you can understand the process of pinocytosis by the help of a diagram. Suppose here it is a plasma membrane. Okay, it has cytoplasm and other particles here. Okay, when it comes in the contact with the liquid, okay, this is liquid, and this is plasma membrane. Okay, when this plasma membrane comes in the contact with the liquid, then what happens? This plasma membrane invaginates. Here we can understand it. It invaginates and this liquid particle or liquid drops get inside here. We can understand it like it comes here. So what happens when this plasma membrane comes in the contact with the liquid, then it invaginates. Here we can say that it has formed a pocket. Here this structure is pocket. We can say that plasma membrane has made a pocket like structure and then it has taken the water droplet inside it. Okay, then what happens? Then here we can see the another structure. Then this pocket nips off and then here it forms a pinosome. This is a pinosome. We can say it's a pinosome. Okay. Now, when this pinosome comes in the contact with the digestive enzymes, these are digestive enzymes. Okay, these digestive enzymes which are present inside the cell, here we can say this is the cytoplasm. Okay, the digestive enzymes which are present inside the cell, then they will attack on this pinosome. Here they will attack on it and then they will break it. The whatever the food material is present inside, then it will digest with the help of these digestive enzyme. And then here we can mention, here you can see it will break into simple substances. Here it's break into simple substances with the help of these digestive enzymes. Okay, clear? Then this undigested food, the undigested food get a covering of a membrane. Then these vesicles are thrown, or we can say that undigested food is thrown out of the cell by the process of exocytosis. Okay, the process is exocytosis. And this is exocytotic vesicle here, which contains waste food material, okay, or we can say undigested food material. So this is the whole process of pinocytosis here. Okay, clear? Now next we will talk about the phagocytosis. In that process, the difference is only that in the pinocytosis they engulf, or we can say then the plasma membrane comes in the contact with the liquid material, and in the phagocytosis the plasma membrane come in the contact with the solid food particles. Then what is the another difference? Then in the pinocytosis, here the plasma membrane invaginates, here we can say it invaginates, but in the phagocytosis the plasma membrane forms pseudopodia around the food particle. Okay, so next we will talk about the phagocytosis. Next topic is phagocytosis. Next is phagocytosis. Now what is phagocytosis? When the plasma membrane of the cell comes in the contact with solid food particle or solid food material, then plasma membrane forms a pseudopodia around the food material and fuses at the corner. Thus, it engulfs the food material inside the cell. Thus, it engulfs the food material inside the cell. Then rest of the process is same as pinocytosis, that the food material which will go inside the cell, it will come in the contact with the digestive enzymes. Then digestive enzymes will break down the food material into the simple form, and then undigested food material will be thrown out of the body by the process of exocytosis. So here we go. Then thus it engulfs the food material inside the cell. Now in the cell, food material that is solid, okay, food material which is in the solid form comes in contact with digestive enzyme These digestive enzymes breaks the food particle, or we can say enzymes break the food into simple form and undigested food material is thrown out of the cell by the process of exocytosis. Okay, now how it takes place, we will go with the diagram. This is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane comes in contact with food material, solid food material. It's solid food material. Okay, then it will form a pseudopodia around the food particle. How it takes place? It's food particle, okay, and it forms pseudopodia. These are pseudopodia. Okay, then again here it is food particle. These are pseudopodia. These pseudopodia fuses. These pseudopodia fuses. Okay, thus we can see that the cell has already engulfed the food inside it. Clear? So this is process of phagocytosis in which the cell forms the pseudopodia around the food particle. Okay, now it has already taken the food particle inside the cell. Now rest of the process will be same. What it will be? Here this is food particle. Okay, and these are digestive enzymes which will attack on food particle. Digestive enzymes. Food. Okay, then they will break the food material into simpler form. Okay, then undigested food here will be thrown out of the body by the process of exocytosis. Okay, this is exocytotic vesicle which contains what? Which contains undigested food. So this is all about the process of phagocytosis. Now we will talk about exocytosis. This is the form of phagocytosis. Now here we have studied the broad processes of endocytosis, in which we have studied pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Now we will talk about the exocytosis. Next process is exocytosis. As the name itself describes the meaning, that when the undigested food material is thrown out of the body or out of the cell. That process is known as exocytosis. How it takes place? When the exocytotic vesicle comes in the contact with the plasma membrane and it fuses with it, then the undigested food material which is present inside the vesicle is entered to the external surrounding medium. Clear? So, this is exocytosis, where we can mention in this process the undigested food material is thrown out of the cell. Okay, how it happens? When exocytotic vesicle fuses, or we can say comes in the contact with plasma membrane, when exocytotic vesicle fuses with plasma membrane, then undigested food material present inside the cell or inside the vesicle is extruded out of the cell in the surrounding medium. Okay, how it takes place? Here we can understand this is plasma membrane. Okay, it's plasma membrane. Okay, it has cytoplasm inside the cell. Here, this is what? Exocytotic vesicle. Okay, here it is exocytotic material or vesicle, exocytotic vesicle. When this exocytotic vesicle fuses with the plasma membrane, then what happens? We can see here. Here it opens, then this material is thrown out of the cell. Okay, this is the again plasma membrane and its undigested food material. Okay, then again it takes its original shape. Okay, and thus we can say here it is undigested food material. Okay, which has already thrown out of the cell. Undigested food material, and it is plasma membrane. So here we have studied about the whole process of active transport, means how the active transport of material, which food material, takes place in a cell by the process of endocytosis, and the undigested food material is thrown out of the body through the process of exocytosis. In the method of endocytosis, we have already studied here the two processes, that the food in the amoeba is taken by the two processes, that are pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Okay, in the pinocytosis, liquid food material is taken inside the body or inside the cell of amoeba, and then solid food particles are taken by the process of phagocytosis. So, here we have discussed the active transport of material through the plasma membrane of the cell. Okay. And for more interesting videos, you can subscribe our channel, that is AriserTalent. There you can get the very interesting lectures and which are taught already by the experts and experienced faculty of Kota. Thank you.